Hello, welcome to our video, The Simpsons roasting on an open fire, first episode.
Review. Today we're also going to be looking at how the characters have developed, or some of the characters have developed from the first episode to what they are today.
Yeah, how far they've become and changed, yeah.
But before we start, just going to mention, although this was the first episode broadcast, it wasn't actually supposed to be the first episode to be broadcast. It's actually supposed to be the 8th episode in the series.
The Babysitter Bandit episode.
Which I believe was called Some Enchanted Evening. But due to the poor quality of animation, they pushed it back. And there's also fears that if the second episode wasn't as good, they were just going to delay the series even further. So basically, because of where it fell, they just felt that because it was a December episode, they felt it was better to actually have this open up with it being a Christmas episode.
So, let's go with characters, how they've developed over the years. Well, we may as well start with the main one, Homer.
Yeah, Homer in this one, he seems to be a bit more empathetic. Seen towards the end of where he's actually convinced to gamble by Bart, where in later series he's more gung-ho, goes along with his own sort of thing, and will actually basically make his own decisions most of the time, which are bad.
And it seems with Patty and Selma, it's mainly them who are resenting Homer more than it's Homer resenting them. It's Molly on their side, that they don't like Homer, Marge being married to him, rather than him hating more on them.
Yeah, and just the fact of him not getting his Christmas bonus, he's down on basically not being able to provide for the family, especially with the Christmas money being spent on having to remove Bart's tattoo.
What I would like to stress is, where's his money for the rest of the year? I mean, if he was a safety inspector, which I presume he was, because he did have a clipboard, going man the plant, checking the machines. So I'd like to say, what the hell did he spend all his money on if he's got no money?
Although, in fairness, with the safety inspector gimmick, it was a fact of because of the change in production, it's like, has he become safety inspector yet? Because a later episode in the series actually sees him become that. So, again, it still portrays him as being inept at the job, so that hasn't really changed in effect.
He's still incompetent at what he does, basically.
And still has his love for donuts.
Yeah, clearly. And beer.
Yeah. Although, talking of the plant, another character who's not changed a whole lot, but Mr. Burns in this one, when he only has one scene, which is telling them of the fact that they're not getting the Christmas bonus.
He still says Merry Christmas, but it's in a way where it's a bit sarcastic, in my opinion.
Yeah, whereas in later episodes, he would just basically be like, yep, you're not getting a Christmas bonus.
Still works out funny, though.
Yeah, tough luck, but in this one, he tries to put across, like, he's not the evil man in it all.
Yeah.
Brief note with that, although he's not seen, Smithers is actually in this episode as well. You hear him on the intercom, but that's about it for him. Moving on to Bart and Lisa, they seem to have more respect for Homer in this episode.
Yeah, because the later episode, I think Bart lost respect for him a long time ago. Lisa still had a bit, but now she's sort of losing the respect for him.
But at the same point, Bart's going to have more respect for Homer when he doesn't get strangled in this episode.
Almost, because Bart was scared when he did that to Homer as he was the Santa Claus. He goes, don't hurt me, Homer. But Homer didn't do it.
But he still sort of shows a little bit respect for it, well, for him, whereby in later series he'd just be like, yeah, whatever, Homer, you're a loser and all this sort of thing.
Good thing Bart portrays him to gamble.
Exactly.
Which is quite a good thing.
With Lisa, there's a scene in the episode where Patty or Sam, I can't remember which one it was, because let's face it, not exactly easy to distinguish between, even at an early stage. She overhears muttering under her breath about how useless Homer is. But Lisa, even back then, goody two-shoes, shows backs Homer up basically.
Yeah.
Tries to put across it. It's hurting her as well because you're trying to betray or badmouth a father.
Even though the father don't want him to get a tree with him.
but he still goes off and steals a tree.
Yeah. With a birdhouse in it, like.
Yeah. Although back here it's not established that Lisa is academically gifted. She's... Yeah, not academically gifted, we'll go with.
I'll go with that.
But another point with this one, be interesting to know when Marge is writing out this letter, to I assume it's friends of the Simpsons explaining what's been going on the past 12 months. Was that in the original script, or did they write that one in because it's the first episode? If it was, it's in.
It's going to, do you?
Yeah, it's a neat little thing if it was put in just because it's the first episode. Because if you've not seen the shorts from the Tracy Ullman show, you get a brief introduction to the characters. But again, to be fair, no, I've just proved myself wrong.
Different.
It was sort of mentioned that Lisa was getting straight A's.
Yeah, it was.
But at the same point, she doesn't throw it in your face as much as she does in later.
Well, the characters were quite different from the Tracy Ullman show to the series. So Lisa and Bart, Lisa was different. Lisa would be more disruptive with Bart. You know, Maggie. I'm sure Maggie said certain bits in an episode what I've watched in Tracy Ullman. She didn't speak, but she did more than what she does in the actual series.
I'm not too sure. The only thing I say with Tracy Ullman one, that was the first instance of Maggie crying, even though she's cried in the series. I don't think it was as heavy as it was in the Ullman show.
Lisa was more disruptive in the Tracy Ullman show with Bart.
Yeah.
They'd cause mischief together. Now with the series, she'd be a bit... She wouldn't do that as much.
Yeah. Other characters... Mark. Did any development really change with Marge in that one?
Not really. She's still the housewife. She still weighs the roof. Well, does she rule the roofs? Because Homer spends all the money, so... Well, in that episode, Marge had to spend the money because of Bart's tattoo.
But, well, in fairness, the end of the episode, when he brings that little helper home...
How much was he?
It's like yeah, they're suddenly happy that there's... Well, Marge is happy that he's brought a dog home, but at the same point doesn't question the fact of, well, you didn't get your Christmas bonus, so how did you actually pay for him?
Yeah, exactly.
So there's still a little bit... I suppose with Marge there, it's still the denial of like, yeah, don't really want to question what Homer's doing sort of thing. Because let's face it, he doesn't come home until the early hours of the morning.
Yeah, he was 7 hours late from work.
Ned in this one, the Christmas lights.
I think he was a bit showing off a bit slightly in that episode. Because he look at my lights, he saw Homer's, which were crap, and then said, look at mine, took mine all right, Simpson.
It could come across two ways. That can be showing off, or it could be that fact of asking someone what they think of your way better thing without actually either stopping to think or realising that maybe they might be a bit embarrassed by the fact of he's only got a few Christmas lights up and half of them don't even work anyway. And then also the Homer bumps into both him, and although he wasn't named, I'm assuming that was Rod, but there's no Todd in this episode. But as I say, they weren't named, so whether that was just, that's Rod, or they haven't thought of names, or they changed names or whatever. But then it's shown even further that Homer buys these presents, which, let's face it, aren't exactly good.
Oh, wonderful presents. You want them, don't you?
Yeah, what was it? Pantyhose for Marge.
Paper for Bart.
I
got a squeaky toy for Maggie.
And what I can't remember what Lisa got.
No.
But basically, all in all, he's trying to shop cheap because even at that point, he can't admit that he's not getting a Christmas bonus. And at that point, he realises that there isn't any Christmas money anyway. So he's just trying to... I don't know, I wouldn't say covering his tracks, but doesn't want to let the family down. And then that's just shown when he bumps into Ned and Rod. It's like they've got wonderful gifts and he's just got these just not very good presents at all.
Ned goes, which ones are mine? They're all yours.
Then other characters in this. Mo.
Moe's a bit more sympathetic with Homer in this one, because he goes, "What's the matter, Homer?" He gives him one of the things,
a candy cane.
Candy cane from a Christmas tree. You know, would Moe be more sympathetic in the later episodes? No, because he was always on that downer where, you know, his suicide hotline, getting barred. You know, he was always one of them characters. It's like he'd even betray his friends in the later episode. It's like with the pants part of an episode where I'm in the pants robbing business now.
But at the same point with that, he doesn't really have much screen time to actually develop the character anyway, so... but again, back then, they probably weren't thinking that far ahead. Milhouse. I mean, yeah, Milhouse appears in this one, but you don't really see much of him. Yeah, he's in the choir at the beginning.
Yeah.
But then the next time you see him, the only other time you see him is in the mall where he's egging Bart on to pull the beard off. At that point, all they know is it's just some guy dressed in a Santa suit.
Again, it's not Milhouse doing all the dangerous work.
Yeah, and he doesn't come across as the character he would be later on, who's not as brave to do stuff, sort of thing.
Not brave at all, a bit like his father.
Barney, the man who suggests the gambling.
Yeah.
And with that being the early series, this is Barney without his... Well, with different hair colour this time. He's just... Well, they call it blonde, but basically his yellow hair.
Yeah, but did he gamble in the later episodes?
To be fair, he seems to be a lot more sober in this episode.
Yeah, he does. He didn't drink as much now. Actually, no, you never saw him drink, did you? Because it'd just be...
Just in the bar.
Yeah.
In fact, was he even in the bar, or was his
No,
first
he went in the bar. See Homer, didn't he? Because he got the... Yeah, he went to...
So, yeah, he's the one that comes up with the gambling idea, but at the same point, he picks the winner, which Homer then talks himself out of, because he just believes that it's a miracle that it's Santa's little helper running the race. Not knowing at that point that Santa's little helper is maybe a greyhound, but he ain't a very fast greyhound.
Useless.
Yeah, just coming in last, and his owner just chucking him away.
Loving dog, but can't run for toffee.
Yeah.
As a greyhound.
But obviously just portraying the original owner of like, yep, I only want you for you to win me races. You're not winning me races. You're no good. Just basically, I'll chuck you out, and on Christmas Eve as well. And
Skinner didn't get much of a part, did he?
Skinner was only
the
compare you could call him for the talent show. But again, obviously back then, from what he became, that's probably a better side to his character anyway. At least back then, he's just Skinner. We haven't even got to we haven't got to that infamous episode, which basically ruins the entire.
Well, we'll talk about that at a later date. Grandpa's
just... I don't even think Grandpa's really changed. He's still basically the guy who just falls asleep half the time. But at the same point, he didn't really have much in it anyway.
He never had much in the Tracy Ullman show either. But in one of the episodes, when Homer was slating Bart and Lisa, he goes, Homer, or even B. You know, he was a bit protecting the kids more, a bit in the...
I bet that's probably the case if they just wanted him a background character more.
But he was still like one of them grandpas who just sits on the sofa and goes to sleep.
Although he does develop a bit later on into the series. He does have more of a role, but this one, he's just basically a background character.
Grumpy old man, would you say?
I don't think his grumpiness really came across that much in this one. I think it was more just... He was still the...
He didn't like the happy little elves, though.
Yeah, but he still came across the senile old man. He still got his what's going on sort of thing. When finally Homer comes home at whatever hour of the night it was or morning.
Yeah,
it looks like Grandpa just fell asleep fucking like 5-6 hours previously, and it's like, oh, Homer's home. Suddenly waking up from it. We got anything else to really add to this one?
There's a lot more, is there? Because it's only the first
episode. Last point to make. Homer, the joke that comes of it, all the jobs he's had.
Yeah, he's had a lot of jobs.
This one, it gives him his first two, working at the power plant and being Santa.
Yeah.
The first two and what become, I don't know, hundreds more jobs.
Got to be hundreds.
So even back in the early series, it was still a case of Homer's going to have plenty of jobs.
But would you let someone like Homer work in a power plant? Because when he did use his clipboard, checking the machines, some machines were out of in danger anyway. He just goes, yep. It's like...
But donuts solve everything.
Exactly.
But last point to make, this one is actually the only episode that airs in the 80s. So basically, going all the way through, The Simpsons is not only one of the longest running shows, it's actually done 4 decades. And with the next series coming up, we're going to be going into a 5th decade.
Also, to remember, it started off as a book, this episode as well. Originally, this episode was actually a book, which I have got somewhere, but we'll have to look for that.
But yeah, that's all to say for this one, really. So, comments down below, like, dislike.
Anything we've missed out in the first episode?
Anything you disagree with or agree with. And yeah, we'll catch you
next time.
in the next
video
review of The Simpsons. Until then,
goodbye.
Bye for now.